Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with a familiar face to those of you who watch Insider Video. We're here with Carmen Roy, who's the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Sales for Crystal Cruises. And Crystal is actually celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. And so it's an odd year to do it, but they are doing it. And we're going to talk to Carmen about that, as well as obviously the topics du jour. Coronavirus and more, as well as what's to come with Crystal. We'll find out all about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, Carmen, first of all, how are you and where are you? You had a lovely view back there in front of you.
Oh, thank you, James. First of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. It's great to see you and doing well. And I'm actually in the cruise capital of the world. What else would you expect me, right? So I'm in Miami. I am in that wonderful office at home called the dining room. But thank goodness for Zoom, I have nothing.
You have a heck of a view from your dining room, obviously.
Listen, I feel I'm blessed. I am blessed. I wish that the view did not have cruise ships in it, because frankly, they should be out sailing, having a good time, and not really in Port Miami. Well, but we'll take it one day at a time.
Hopefully soon. Now we did, as I mentioned, Crystal is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, and I've been with you and sailing on Crystal now for many years in a variety of forms. Now, given the coronavirus crisis, what kind of sort of special events and celebrations have you been staging so far, and what more is to come? I know I listened in on one, and we actually had it up on Insider Travel Report, but tell us a little bit about how you're celebrating this anniversary.
Right. Well, first and foremost, I dressed up for you. I'm wearing my sequins. It's coming in and out, right? Because this is the only opportunity I'm going to be able to wear my 30th anniversary dress, which would have been my sales gala dress. I got to tell you, it's an odd year, but we couldn't let the 30th anniversary go by without at least recognizing it, without at least finding a way to thank our partners, thank our guests. You know, they are loyalists and ambassadors. So early on the onset, when this started, we realized it's not going to be the 30th anniversary we had envisioned, because we had a year-long amount of activities, events on board the ship, voyages that we had highlighted. It was going to be pretty phenomenal. And we just got together and said, okay, so now we're just going to have to shift our paradigm, figure out a way for us to celebrate the 30th anniversary, but just do it virtual. So we actually came up with Crystal at Home, which was a virtual initiative, because we said, how do we engage with our guest and partner alike and remind them of what it is that they love about Crystal? What is it that you love, right? So you love the Galaxy on Friday nights. You love the Cove with what we like to do, Thirsty Thursdays with, like, my favorite drink, the pink flower. So, we kind of had this whole agenda of activities, Wellness Wednesday, and then Sunday cooking, and Saturday really was about our guests really returning to being a #Crystal family. And then July 24th, which was our actual anniversary, our real 30th anniversary birthday celebration, we did a Crystal at Home at the Galaxy, amazing event. I mean,
I know, I was watching a lot of it, some great music.
I know, I saw you, thank you. I mean, I don't know about you, and I always say to the team, there's no crying at Crystal, even if it starts with CRY, but I'll tell you, there were tears. People were texting me saying, this is moving me to see all the godmothers through the years, coming on and giving us their personal message, to see Nobu come out and talk about his 17-year partnership, and just Mark Ferris, when he played Louis Armstrong, and our song, What a Wonderful World. I mean, that was, I think, the one that put us all over the top. And it was a great way for us to connect and thank our guests. And then the photos of the crew, right? That's what people love about Crystal. That's the glue that keeps us together. It's that onboard family that you've known for 30 years, that you know everything about them and they know everything about you. They don't just welcome you, or pre-COVID, they hug you, they welcome you. They're so happy to see you. And then seeing those pictures and those moments with our guests was really, to me, that was the icing on the cake, because it was our way of saying, wow, we can't wait to return back to what that feeling is, and how do we keep engaging you?
No, it was, and we actually did, we picked up that video of the event, and we had it on ITR the next day, and I think we got a lot of views because people hadn't gotten a chance to see it yet. So I think it was a great event, and I just wish it was live. I mean, it would have been fantastic.
Too.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Crystal. And now, you started with just one ocean-going ship back in 1990, the Crystal Harmony, but then expanded to 2 and then 3. Tell us a little bit about that early period. I know you weren't there, but you know
I wasn't
about
there.
it.
But boy, do I ever, because I remember being on the outside looking in. I've been doing this for 39 years and I've worked at some wonderful corporations. And I remember 1990 when Crystal launched as a luxury brand and the entire hoopla about it. There was such buzz about how different, NYK was going to launch a luxury cruise brand, doing it their way, no expense spared. And it was the Harmony. And then obviously the Symphony and Serenity were added on. And then the Harmony, of course, went back to NYK. But I mean, when I look back at the revolutionary kind of concepts, with guest to space ratio, what is it that defines luxury? The partnerships, to make sure there's a lot of unique partnerships. And, the first ever licensed show, and I got to look at the notes because I didn't even know this, but I was preparing for you. I'm like, okay, let's make sure we've got these nuggets. The first ever licensed show of Rodgers and Hammerstein was premiered on board Crystal Symphony 20 years ago.
Wow.
And then the irony is we now have Crystal on Broadway with Kevin McClellan. So we're evolving, right? With Rachel York. Well, you got to see Rachel York on our, on our 30th anniversary event when she sang. It was mind-boggling. So we've evolved the brand, but we've evolved it and always looked at what is at the foundation, what is the architecture that created this brand and what pulls at the heartstrings. And at the end of the day, it's always the same. And luxury is personal, which is our campaign, the brand campaign that we launched last year. But we launched it because of the research. And it's all about our society members, all about our partners that have been with us the whole 30 years. As you know, we were going to have our Crystal Gala. And at the beginning, as Crystal, the word crystal, it just, at least me, having seen it from the outside in and now being part of the brand, I remember when I got here, I thought, what's the big deal, right? Until you sail the first time. And then I realized that I couldn't even describe it. If I could bottle it, I think I'd be filthy rich because it really is a crystal essence. It's a DNA that it really can't be described. It has to be experienced. And once you are crystallized, which is what we like to say, you're part of the family, right, James? You never come back and people say, welcome aboard.
A number of times. I know exactly what
they don't welcome you aboard at the welcome aboard. No, it is welcome home, and there's hugs and kisses and people catching up on it's really like it's just that, a family on board. And because of the size of the ships, especially on the ocean, less than 1,000 guests, everybody knows each other. There is no pomp and circumstance. It's just a relaxed home family atmosphere. It's, again, indescribable really, but it pulls at the heartstring of our guests. And that was the 30 years of essence and dynamic that we wanted to capture.
Well, I know. And the thing is, you're using ships that at least the second one is almost 29 years old. And it's so well kept up and so well refurbished. It looks brand new and
still award winning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it still has a lot of great features. And it was I guess it was ahead of its time at the time,
With now, private verandas. Now you have incredible ships.
Everybody's doing what you started. And
right. Everybody's hardware has followed suit, so to speak. But we've kept it up, and it's still won awards, as you know. I mean, when I go on our ships, and that's one of the things that everybody says, especially on Gala, where we have our very top producers, and, they're picky. Very picky, and they're picky because they should be. They own our brand. They created the brand with their amazing support through the years. So they have very high expectations and standards. And, obviously, Thomas Muslim that was here, I'm talking about our 30-year heritage, Tony, who we lost this year. I mean, his amazing...
I used to see Tony and Thomas kind of getting together, talking about
everywhere.
What they're going to do now and the menus and all that. It was quite, and now Thomas is actually running Disney Cruise Line.
I know. Congratulations. I love him. But if you think about it, they created what's called Crystal, 6-star basics training for our crew. So it's also not just on board, but ashore. And it's what they call the golden standard. And it's really, you either serve a crystal guest or you serve somebody who serves a crystal guest. Right. But at the end of the day, everything we do revolves around our guest. As little as I remember, Thomas was the one who gave me my first tour of the ships, and Gary Hunter was there. He goes, I have someone to introduce you to from your past. Gary Hunter, our cruise director. I said, Gary Hunter? He's still alive. Gary and I have shared this joke, James, so he won't get upset. I'm like, Gary, last time I saw you had flaming red hair. Now it's white. He goes, I'm luxurious too. And it was just that whole banter and that feeling.
Yeah.
I can't even describe it.
Well, you have some great cruise directors. I know one of them actually, Rick.
Staff, I love him.
Oh, yeah, I've known him since he was at Disney Cruise Line, and when I got a chance last time I was on one of your galas and met him, I was like, it was old home week. It was the same thing, but all your crew has very personable, and people go for the crew. It's an old line
absolutely
cruise thing, where you now go for the crew. Now let's talk a little bit about because 7 years ago Genting bought Crystal from NYK.
It feels like 7, lucky number, but it's only 5. 2015, and I know it.
God,
yes, it's only 5, James, and I only know it because
done all this in 5 years. Oh my God, it's like
the best is yet to come.
Yeah, well, you started a complete transformation of the company, and you added. Well, tell us what you added.
Yes. So I know I know the date is so bright in my mind because Genting, the official buy day was May 15th. And my official start date at Crystal was May 15th. I actually signed my agreement on May 14th. So I remember it vividly because I'm like, they want to do what? But it was a concept. And, again, this luxury cruise brand, and Thomas shared with me, as did, everybody. We did surveys to find out what is it that Crystal luxury guests are looking for. How do we evolve the evolution of Crystal luxury? How do we get there? And really, we took a lot of data from these surveys that said our guests are already doing other things. They don't leave us except to experience other brands because we don't have the destination or we don't have the brand experience. So our chairman, Tom Tree, and I was there when he announced it, which was just amazing. He said, yep, we hear that survey. You need river ships. I think we need to have airplanes. I think we need, it went on and on and on, and the yacht, and then expedition sailing. And, it started all with 2015 in December. So he basically, on that 25th anniversary, July 24th is when we announced. I was there leading that marketing effort to show that we were going to go into the yacht business with Crystal Yacht Cruises, the Crystal Esprit. And we launched her that December in the Seychelles. Then we announced in November, and they went and actually bought the Mozart at that time, and we went into Crystal River Cruises. So, the Mozart was the first, and then now we have the youngest fleet, in the European rivers with Crystal River Cruises, and those ships were built, if you think about it, 17 and 18. So,
it's not that long ago. And I was actually up there watching as they cut the steel for the first one back then, and it was amazing.
That's a pretty short period of time.
It was during one of your galas, so then we flew back on the Crystal private jet.
Yes, you did. But you did the Global Express. You did the small jet, James.
I did.
It was only up to 12
I did the small jet back to Italy, and then then they were very nice enough to take me all the way back to JFK later on.
Wow.
Who knew?
That's luxury.
I don't know if I still have it on, but one of my photos on my Facebook still is me with a little glass of champagne in the jet. So I think that might still be there somewhere. But
so we still have that beautiful plane, and we still have it on charter mode, and then we also have the Crystal Sky. So you remember in 2017, so again, when they purchased us in 2015, they talked about this Crystal Air Cruises concept. Mind you, the concept evolved because like everything in life, when you start a new concept, you have to test it and see, is there a market for it? How does it behave? And we realized with one plane, but the aircraft is gorgeous. It's a 777, that we did for just up to 88 discerning guests. It is, I got to fly on the jet last November. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but the Crystal Sky, actually during COVID now, it has more charters than ever because of the cargo space that it has.
I'm sure. It's
incredible.
Crazy now. And in fact, I was there in Las Vegas when we got a chance to see the jet. I didn't get to fly in it, but
2017.
And I believe Virtuoso CEO
Matthew Upchurch, right? He was our godfather. He christened it.
Godfather. Yes. Who knew?
Who knew? Of course, there's godfathers.
There's a godfather. I guess we're now doing godfathers now too, but that was the first godfather of an aircraft that I knew.
Crystal Sky. It was a beautiful moment. It was right in Vegas during Virtuoso Week. I remember it actually exactly 2017. So 3 years from now?
Yeah,
it would have happened this week.
I did sail on the Mozart, which is now not part of your fleet, but that was the first one I did. And then I sailed on, I don't know, it was the Bach or the Ravel.
The Mahler, the Ravel.
I know. I lived my
one of the four
there. I think I went to the christening of one and then was driven back from Vienna and driven up to Vienna and went on the other one and came back to Budapest.
Beautiful.
But it was a wonderful, wonderful event. Now you have sort of a new period here where you're waiting for your new polar expedition yacht, I guess, expedition ship.
Crystal Endeavor.
And then eventually, I guess you're looking at a new ocean-going ship at some point. So this is another era that's coming, right?
Correct. So Crystal Endeavor, I mean, literally, if it hadn't been for COVID, we would have already inaugurated her. It was going to be in Tokyo during the Olympics. I got to tell you, talk about life experiences. You know, I got the opportunity to go to the shipyard in Germany and see our owners because they were laying the steel for one of the dream ships. And I got to take a tour, a hard hat tour at the shipyard of Crystal Endeavor. And if it wasn't for COVID and the fact that the Germany shipyard is closed, they're all closed. So until they reopen, we've had to delay. And it was tough because it was sold out. And I mean, this ship was amazingly, the price points were incredible because there's this pent up, what I call desire for the Crystal brand, for anything that's new. And if you think about it, and the river ships are phenomenal, and the Esprit is as well. It's a yacht, but the Endeavor is kind of like a mini cruise ship, right? I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous, 200 guests. So at this point, we canceled everything through May 15th of 2021, really giving us enough time because the shipyard hasn't opened until further notice. And when it does, then the work can't resume or finish, I should say, because she was pretty far along and she was impressive.
Well, hopefully you'll get
It'll be a game changer.
It will be, and you know, it really is. Any other future expansion yet? I mean, you were, for a while there, it was like, oh, we couldn't go a week or two without Crystal announcing something.
That was, but you know what? Then we heard to all of our wonderful partners saying, okay, so now execute. And we've executed and delivered on everything that we promised, which was critical. And to make sure that that Crystal confidence remains. So obviously Expedition will come out. It'll be the Endeavor. And then based on all of these pauses that have happened because of COVID, it's not just us. It's right industry-wide. My 39-year career, I think you and I were talking about it previously. This is like a little bit of a Twilight Zone mixed in with Groundhog Day. I'm like, okay, what to expect tomorrow. But then afterwards, obviously, our ocean ships are what we have our eye to. And that'll now be delayed because of all the other delays. They can only finish X amount of ships. And don't forget, they also build for Genting. So they're building the Dreams ships for Dream Cruises, which are mammoth vessels.
Well, if I recall, Genting owns the shipyard, so
they do. Oh, thank you for reminding me, James. So we just need to open the shipyard up and open the country up, and then we should be getting back on schedule.
I was at the first press conference when they announced a lot of the ships, and the chairman was there, and it was a very nice event. And, it was really a really great event, and we learned all about what the plans were. Now let's talk a little bit about, I know my partner Alan Fine talked with you earlier this year about what's going on with Crystal and with the COVID-19 crisis, but and you just already talked about some of the challenges you're facing, and you know, there's the delay to the Expedition ship, things like that. But any other updates from you on what's going on with Crystal? First of all, when will you begin cruising at this point? I mean, you have a date. These dates keep moving around because of what's going on. But what is the current date, and which part of the Crystal family will be cruising? So ironically enough, and when Alan and I were together, we talked about this, right? We're like, okay, at that point, we had that July 24th date that the CDC had placed, right? And we were excited. So when we had canceled Canada, New England, we thought, okay, we'll start some Caribbean voyages. So we thought, okay, October 1st, we'll set sail. We opened those up at literally, they sold out. I mean, that is, proof is in the pudding of the pent-up desire of people wanting to travel. Gorgeous itineraries. And then, of course, when the pause was continued, actually, and CLIA came out, first September 15th, and then September 30th, that's it. We made the decision, even before anybody else canceled, to cancel the remainder of 2020. We're not in the driver's seat. We do not know what's going to happen on September 30th. It's just death by 1,000 cuts. It was easier for us to say, you know what, let's do the responsible thing. Let's just cancel through the end of the year and start fresh in 2021. As you know, the river ships are in winter layup anyway, so they would just start in spring of 21. The Esprit will be in the Seychelles, and because she's 62 guests, just 31 suites, the government of the Seychelles will allow us to sail because it's not like she's just there visiting. She's actually round trip, right, in the Seychelles. So she's there for an extended period of time and for many years on. So we're actually open through 23 and close to opening 24 on Esprit as well. So the ocean ships, obviously, we've got one that's supposed to do World Cruise, and then the other one will do her amazing voyages that include some Caribbean voyages and then some Asia and Australia. But none of us have that crystal ball. And I say that, tongue in cheek, James, because we don't know, right? But
what I have learned is that the team has been so resilient and we've been able to pivot. And as long as we do what's right by our guests and our partners and ask them their feedback and make sure that we are really in touch with what's going on and what people are expecting, then we're able to bounce back. So right now we've canceled through the end of 2020. And then we'll just look at, 21 and beyond based on what happens.
Well, hopefully, at least I know the river ships might be able to go first because they're already putting river cruise ships on the rivers of Europe now, mostly for the European market. But hopefully by March or so, we will see river cruising. And as you said, the expedition ship and the Seychelles, the yacht cruise, I should say.
Right, Crystal Esprit.
Crystal Esprit, that also may be a go. I guess the only challenge you're going to have heading into 2021 is the ocean going, and hopefully, we'll have a vaccine or something by then, and people will start to. I'm sure.
I think our guests have been very, very, very resilient, understanding their patients, just like our partners. I mean, this is and people use the word unprecedented, and I never want to use that term, but it really is surreal. It's insane what we're living. Nobody, if you would have told me, I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Yet here we are. So. Tough situations, call for tough people and even better leadership. And I have great faith and confidence in the leadership in the cruise industry and those that are working. What a beautiful thing, Royal and NCL working together, right, to come up with these protocols and really work. And CLIA has done a job to really get us all together because we know this industry is safe. We know that for 4 decades, we've had to maintain, health protocols. We self-report. Besides nursing homes and hospitals, who self-reports? So I know what those protocols are, James.
Not hotels or airlines.
No, and we do. But you know what? They're holding us to a higher standard. Guess what? We will get to that standard and exceed it because that's what we do in the cruise industry. This is an industry that's loved and has tremendous, a lot of people who are very, very passionate about cruising, and so as such, we will do what we need to do. Our own protocols came out about 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say that. I mean, you had you were one of the lines that really sort of covered the bases with your, was it Crystal?
Crystal Clean Plus. So it's called Plus because, because really it's an initial set of stringent health and safety protocols, and that they meet the unique challenges that we're facing with COVID-19, but, it's an evolving reality. I mean, we know. So we're calling it 2.0 because 1.0 is what we already have in place. And those standards are very high and very stringent, as you know, with USPH,
and then you just introduced
CDC.
it for river cruises. We had them up today.
Hot off the press. Exactly. Yeah. The difference between river and ocean, obviously, that because river is so close to land, if you need a medical facility, we don't have it on board, we can get you there pretty quickly. So I think that's really the nuance. And then we are going to introduce yacht and expedition probably next week. Very, very similar to ocean. But to us, it's about looking at these protocols. And I love the tagline because we obviously created a tagline for it. That's typical Crystal. Confidence anchored by care. I love the anchored. I love the play on word, but care. Because that's what people want to know, that you care. And that they're going to be safe. That's the number one thing they want to know. They're going to be safe and that you've taken, precautionary measures above and beyond the things that we already do. So we just compartmentalized it. It made it really great, declaration of safety. So we did pre-boarding. What do you need to do? The questionnaires, the screenings. When you get vigilance aboard and ashore, because it's not just the environment on the ship. It's when you go to these incredible destinations, what are their requirements? And if you're doing a shore excursion, if you've done it through Crystal, you know that those partners are vetted and are keeping the standards that we expect, right? We said in space we trust, because as you all know, social distancing, those are like the key terms of today, right? Those are the buzzwords. So it's critical because we have ships on the ocean side that are like premium brand cruise lines. They could accommodate 2,000 guests, or more, but yet we have less than 1,000. In and of itself, we have set ourselves up for success with regards to the spacing issue and the being able to accommodate the 1,000 guests with whatever requirements.
There's a lot of space on Crystal ships, whether it's ocean, river, or expedition, or yacht. It's a real, the river ships it has the lowest passenger count on the waters, to my knowledge.
106.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. But it doesn't. And the ship itself, the boat is still the same size as the other ones. So you got lots of space and a lot of places to do it. So yeah, no, I think that what you've done there is great. Now let's talk a little bit about how you might be celebrating this 30th with travel advisors. I know this year, unfortunately, you had to cancel your gala. You still got your dress, so you're good.
I'm wearing it for you. What can I tell you?
Thank you, and I expect.
But I'll wear it again next year. We're doing a repeat.
We'll see you with that. And so, and I was going to go on this year. So so what are you doing with travel advisors? Anything special for this 30th?
So many of them joined us with, obviously, Crystal at Home. When we kicked off the year of 2020, by the way, in an amazingly booked position, we had actually created a 30 cruise giveaway for our travel partners, because we used to do sale 5 and cruise free, sale 3 and cruise free. And because we were so full, we didn't have those incentives for a couple years. So we had done these 30 voyages. And of course, now because we didn't sail, we are going to relaunch that for next year once we're back. It's kind of like a redo. My own coffee chats with Carmen that normally introduce you to all the executives, became virtual coffee chats through a webinar series. We also introduced, new Cruise Builder, which is our automation, platform, because again, at the end of the day, the distribution channel will change. Many of them will work from home, and there's going to be a lot of self-service. So now, even though people say there's downtime, you and I talked about it, James, I have less downtime now than I've ever had. So I don't know who has the downtime, but whenever they have the downtime, we created these videos and these, assets for them to use to celebrate our 30th anniversary. Lots of social platform assets that they can use to help them, really just re-engage their guests. So we came out with Easy Book for next year because we listened to them. So we had our first Crystal Partner Advisory Council meeting a couple weeks ago. It was virtual, but we welcomed the new Advisory Council and listening to them, their input, their feedback. And one of the biggest things, whatever they said admin fees are not good. So we got rid of the admin fees for next year. So again, it's about evolving. It's about listening to our partners. And we will do a redo of this year's gala next year. So
okay, well, hopefully I can get there.
Yes, sir. On the record.
Alan will go. We'll see. One of us will be there.
Don't you worry.
You don't know where it's going to be yet, do you?
Not yet, but this year was May 31st. It would have been the Met. It was a beautiful itinerary. We had lots of surprises.
I was going to be in
lots of
Europe.
Surprises.
I was going to be in Europe anyway, and I was just going to keep on going and find myself on your Crystal ship out of Civitavecchia. But that would have been wonderful. But all the lost travel, we were talking about that we kind of missed. But now, and in terms of sales, I mean, are bookings going pretty well for 2021?
Oh, yes.
And
So you'll see these stats. Everybody says there's a lot of, future cruise credits out there that our guests, we're shifting and lifting, especially on the river. It was super easy. A lot of our charters that were on the Esprit that just said, no problem, we'll just go in 21, provided the itinerary is the same, because they want to go. They're ready to go. And on the ocean, we've had 21 is really looking phenomenal from an FCC perspective, as well as a regular new booking perspective. I talked about those for Caribbean voyages where they were litmus test. And then when we look at the fact that we're open 2022, 2023, we will launch our World Cruise 2024 in October. Uh-huh. And I know, because our guests expect that. They are ready to book, and they will book.
Well, you always were early on your brochures and getting things out. And now, of course, since 2020 has been sort of a wash, it's kind of given you some time, or a little bit of time, even though we don't have that much, to start thinking even up to 23 and 24.
And we're ready. So we've launched 22, we've launched 23, and now 24 World Cruise will be launched. So literally we are up to date with all the ships and all because you got to keep people dreaming, right? This is going to happen. Talk about it now. And our guests, our affluent guests, they book not just one cruise, but they book farther out and several voyages at a time. So we just need to be in market when they need us to be in market and be very responsive.
Now, any other messages you want to get out to travel advisors, either about the 30th, about new Crystal marketing and sales programs?
So Easy Book, we've had a lot of new initiatives to what I call travel partner stimuluses. And when I was on with Alan, I talked about a few that we had launched. I think the most important thing I want to say is just thank you. Thank them for their resilience, and a lot of people think, what is it going to look like when we get past this? And this too shall pass. At the end of the day, I can tell you for Crystal, we can't we can't survive without our travel partner distribution channel. And what they have gone through this year, with cancellations, rebooking. Let's just start with getting people from all over the world back to their hometowns,
Right.
safe and sound, at all times of the day. I mean, talk about service. That's luxury. And I guess it's a huge thank you for them. Thank you for being with us for 30 years. Thank you for your support. And guess what? The best is yet to come, and I want to toast everybody to the next 30, because that's where we all want to be.
Well, hopefully we all can have a live celebration, a redo for the 30th this year on the next gala. We'll have a toast there. But Chris, Carmen, I want to thank you for taking the time to tell us about Crystal's 30th. I've been following this line for many years, and I've known you before that. And when you got to Crystal and you arrived at a major, growth period for the line, and now we have this year that we've had to survive, but this too shall pass at some point, and we'll all be
one
back.
of my hashtags.
There you go. But again, thank you so much, and thank you again for talking about all this stuff going on with the 30th.
And thank you, James, for your support. Greatly appreciated. And we'll be having that toast next year, no doubt.
Absolutely. And wear that dress, okay?
I will.
There we go. I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.